This week's question comes from a community member who asks, Leslie, are astrology and tarot or oracle cards valid? I don't live my life by them, but I think that they're fun. Great question. That's what we're diving into in this video. So let's break this question down. Are astrology, oracle, and tarot cards valid? Well, that's a huge question. So I'm going to separate it out right from the beginning and kind of put astrology in its own category. Astrology is coming from not just a divination kind of background, but from an actual science. And I'm a particular fan of Vedic astrology from India and its ancient roots. And I've found that beyond what maybe most Westerners understand as astrology, of reading a column in a magazine just based on your sun sign, astrology and Vedic astrology has been around for thousands and thousands of years and is a science. List a link below in the comments to one of my favorite Vedic astrologers, who's a wonderful person who can also check out online, and I'll link to him below if you want to know more about that. So in a way, I'm kind of putting astrology off to the side and saying, yes, having your chart done and really working with someone who is really coming from a lineage of this deep and ancient knowledge is very valid and can really serve a lot of benefits in helping you in your life and catching you in your blind spots and helping you to just see yourself on a more deep level. So now let's switch to talking about oracle cards and tarot. Now these also, the tarot especially, has a tradition, but it's in a little bit of a different category where it's coming from yourself. So I'm going to give you 3 things to think about when you're using oracle cards or the tarot. And the basic short answer to your question is yes, they're valid, but we want to use them as tools and not as the end-all be-all blind guidance in your life. So here's 3 things that will really keep you on a good path for using these as helpful tools and not as a crutch to help you avoid blind spots that can come up when you're using these things. Number 1 is remember the source. Any sort of oracle card or the tarot is coming from, in a way, within you, and it's reflecting back to you what's already there, but it's sort of bypassing your mind in a way that will give you answers that you couldn't get to directly. Because it's coming from you, you want to relate to it in that way and not as some out there kind of crazy source that's just random in the universe. Number 2, because it's coming from you, it's also got your filters. So especially if you're asking a question about something that you have a lot of strong emotion or attachment or fear around, it's likely that that is going to seep into the answer that you're getting from any oracle cards. So it's important to really know yourself and know when you're not clear, and take that kind of reading with a little bit of a grain of salt to know that it's not in some sort of vacuum. It's being influenced by your strong emotions. One of the quick tips that you can use to sort of get around that is, even when you're asking a question, you can ask the question like, if I had no fear, how do I feel if? And remember that any kind of oracle doesn't give a crap about should. So the type of questions that you ask should be more like getting guidance and insight, not a yes/no question like, should I marry this person or should I do that? If you're asking the oracle about these sorts of should questions, you're barking up the wrong tree. That's not what it's used for. This brings us to point number 3. Whatever kind of oracle or guidance system you're using, imagine that it's like a good friend, not like your boss or some almighty being that you're going to in this particular way that's going to give you some sort of judgment that you're going to follow. So just in that way, if I'm using it as a good friend that I generally trust, but I know is going to have their biases from either my own strong emotions or otherwise, the information that you receive from whatever reading you're doing is going to be helpful, like sitting down with a wise friend. But just like sitting down with a wise friend, if you and I are having tea together and I say, hey, what do you think about this thing? And then you tell me and you give me some answers and some insights and some recommendation. And then maybe the next day we sit down and we're having tea again and I ask you the same question. Hey, what do you think about this? And then the next day I ask you the same question. Hey, what do you think about this? Now, it might sound kind of crazy when I'm imagining you and I having tea, but this is a thing that people do with oracle cards and the tarot all the time. You ask a question, you get some reflection and an answer, but either because you don't quite like it or you don't quite trust it or you don't quite trust yourself, you keep asking the same thing over and over again. If you did that to a friend, your friend would get pretty annoyed. So take the reflection that you get from any sort of tool that you're using as the insight of a good friend that's not perfect, but gives you some reflection, and then move forward making your best decision. I'll say also, I'm a little biased as a subtle body expert. I teach empaths and sensitive people and healers how to really get past the mind and internally be able to ask your inner body wisdom, which is what I found to be one of the clearest ways to guide your life outside of any external oracle or guidance system, often even astrology. So if you'd like more info, you can check that out below. Until then, keep using your tools to know yourself more deeply. You are a soul with a body and you deserve great things. Did you get some insights out of this? Share your biggest takeaway with me below. Maybe something surprised you or some other sort of system that you use that you really like and find insight with. Or maybe if you've been guilty of that mistake, like I know I have myself, of asking the same question a couple of times, even when I've gotten an answer. And if you like the vibe of this video, you can submit a question that I'll answer over in our Facebook group, Soul Aligned Health, or check out our community and free 10-day audio course over at Empath Healer Central with a special link below. I'm rooting for you. I want you to know you are a soul with a body and your inner world creates your outer world. I'll see you next time.